Lords and ladies of YouTube land, this is Terror Freeze. We are here with a brand new Space Engineers series. As you can see, I've changed my thumbnail. It'll stay changed for a little while. I will keep it as the Electric Funeral banner for the reason that I just restarted Electric Funeral for Space Engineers, for people to come hang out. Got a Discord server now. I will put a link in the description of the live stream. Once the live stream is over, you guys will be able to get there, and I'll send an invite to stream members. So, this is a survival tutorial series. First things first, if you can, you want to try to find an area to land, preferably flat. So usually lakes like this are pretty good for doing that. Hey, look, you can see the shadow right over there. See where the cursor is? Usually these are pretty good for the planet. And you lower yourself with C on your keyboard, and you raise yourself with spacebar. A lot of people have a hard time figuring that out. It's not real hard. You just gotta play with the controls a little bit to figure out exactly what button does what. Your HUD helps you out a pretty good bit too. I'd suggest keeping it on until you're more familiar with the game, for those of you who are new to the game. Alright, just steadily tap C very slowly, and you'll get down without any problems. Okay, so first thing you want to do is hit I. And, oh, let me show you how I did this. Okay, so first, in your options, when you go to display, it might be graphics. I think it's game. It is game. Okay, so if you look here, this is how most everybody's looks. Your UI opacity allows you to change to where you can see through your UI or not. Helpful for certain situations, and I'll show you what situations we're talking about in just a little bit. First, you want to press I, and then go to your control panel and type THR. That'll bring up all your thrusters with that on this ship. Alright, so you want to put them in a group. First thing you do is type thrusters. Alright, and you just click save. Now, to get rid of all these to where you're not seeing them and they're taking up space on this control panel, if you just show blocks in terminal, it gets rid of them. Alright, and then to show out everything else back in the terminal, you just get rid of your search. Alright, so batteries, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to label those backup power. And hit save and show block and terminal. Interior lights. Just LIGHTS. Save. Oops. Alright, so go to lights, hit control because I didn't do that properly. Hit save. Alright. Now, regardless of whether it was done properly or not, it's all saved there. Blocks and terminal, gone. Alright, and then the rest of these you don't really need to mess with a whole lot. So, now that you've kind of pared down your inventory a little bit on your control panel, first thing you want to do is come out here and assess the situation. Okay, so you only landed on one landing gear. Alright, so let's go up here. Thrusters are still on, so everything's still good. Alright, so you unlock the landing gear. C to keep going down. P will lock the landing gear. Now the reason mine you see it lock whenever I press the button is because I'm actually using an Xbox controller. Alright, so the same button that controls the lock and unlock of the landing gear also brings me up and down. Okay, so no big deal there. Now if I press I again and I go into my control panel, and I go to my thrusters, we turn the blocks off, and then we hit that P, it just leveled the ship out for us automatically and then relocked them. It auto locks those those for you. Alright. So a few things before we get started. You don't normally have a lot of inventory. I turned the inventory A up all the way and B installed a mod to give me excess inventory. So if you look right here, you normally only have 4,000. This is 400,000, 100 times more than what you normally able to carry. Alright. So that means that I can essentially grind down this whole ship if I wanted to and have it in my inventory and build a whole brand new base right here. Alright, so we're gonna do some things here, and we're gonna get ready to just put all of it together, put it all where, oh look, free resources. Alright, so I had that on, was working on something a little earlier, and I knew it was on because it had a green thing there. Alright, so now go to your cargo container and grab what you can for resources. Me, I'll be able to grab it all because it doesn't affect me. Alright, and I'm gonna check. I don't think I have the mod on, but I'm gonna double check anyway. And if it's not on, I'm gonna put it on here in a little bit. Maybe after our next live stream. Let's see. No, it's definitely not on because it gave me scrap metal. It didn't give me more power cells. So that was a futile effort. I usually have recyclable batteries on. Every playthrough that there is, I would recommend, no matter what, always go get recyclable batteries. Alright, so I did this a little fast. Let me explain what I did, just in case those of you who don't know what's going on, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, welder, grinder, and drill. Alright, so those are my first three things on my bar. Alright, so 1, 2, and 3 controls each of those. If you look down at my hotbar, and if I press control and 2, that brings me to my second hotbar. Controlling 3, control 4, control 5, control 6, control 7, control 8, control 9. You have 9 hotbars. Alright. Let's press J. We're going to take off our helmet. Well, not actually our helmet, but if we look at our little character here, right there. Alright, and there's some changes that I want to do. I want to go here. Alright, and I want to go to veteran suit. Let's see. Veteran. And I want to change the color to my original color. Alright, so gloves, veteran, helmet, veteran, boots, veteran. Alright. Okay, so something's not right. Let's go in here again. Let's change it. It updated the suit, I could see that, but it didn't refresh my color. I see why. Okay. So I usually go not quite that. I usually go about right there somewhere. Alright, now once I go to veteran stuff, it'll make it look a little bit darker. And I'll hit refresh. Let me change anything. There we go. Gloves. Boots. Blue. I don't understand where the veteran gloves went to, but there we go. I'll just change to that because it looks a lot better anyway. So there we go, and there we go. It's not changing the helmet for some dadgum reason. Oh well. Heck with it. Alright. So let's get back to it. Welder, weld stuff up. Grinder takes it down. As you can see, that gets rid of all the stuff in the inventory that you have. So like in here is the stuff that you have in your inventory. Grinder adds more stuff to your inventory. Allows you to build stuff. Well, let me not create a problem for myself or for anyone else. So let's go over here. I'm gonna go a little ways from the lander there. To start building you a little grid for a base to start out with. First few episodes are going to be live stream episodes of this, and then we're going to do actual, once I feel you guys have a feel for the game, we're going to actually get into the game itself, of how instead of it, you know, feeling like, oh well, you know, this works like this, blah blah blah, that, so on and so forth, we're actually going to get into, you know, not worrying about that so terribly much, and actually get to where it's a little bit more playthrough than it is actual tutorial. I'll still teach you guys things from time to time. Take a look at the moon. That is nice. Alright, so I started on a planet, and there are no other planets in here except for that one. And to simplify things, I turned it to where that sun will not rotate. It will not create any problems for us, so we can charge up everything. I wanted this to be easy when I first started out, just to show you guys kind of how to do some stuff until you're ready to actually get going. Once we actually get a little bit started and you kind of understand the concept and the basics, which you'll catch on pretty quick, it will all the difficulties and everything will go up. Sun rotation, I will turn off all those unknown signals. I will turn dogs on, turn spiders on, and eventually I'll spawn in more planets. I'm kind of a fan of these colors here, these lighter colors. Lighter colors, they just have a tendency to stand out a little bit better, especially on places like outer space, out in the on asteroids and stuff like that. It makes it easier for you to find them. Yellow is a good color. Red. Light greens, like I've got here, light blues. You want to avoid dark colors like purple and dark blue, things like that, until you're familiar with the game. And then once you actually get a little bit more familiar, you can actually start doing that, because you're more or less going to have some disorientation. Alright, so you can see kind of what I did here. It's just welded everything up that I put down. Gave us actual full blocks as opposed to these little things here, these grids. Because without that, I could pretty much just walk up to it and tap it with pretty much anything, and it's done. I could hit that with a rifle round, and that thing is done. Whereas light armor, while it's not really the best, it'll at least take some rifle rounds without breaking. Alright, so let's go in here and let's start ripping some stuff apart. But before we do that, let us assembler. Alright, we want to do this and this and this, and we want to throw this in the refinery. Gives us a little bit of iron, that'll work. Put that in the assembler. Let's see. What else? I need this in my inventory. Yep. And you can see how quickly your inventory fills up. I would never been able to fit all this in there with just 4,000. Think about this. This is 24,000. None of this would have fit in my inventory. And as I say, that's for demonstration purposes mostly, to show the functionality of the game for those people who are new to space engineers. Alright, let's see. Production. Tools. Disassembling. Inventory. Alright. Assembling. Assembling. You want to try to get you as many of the new tools as possible. Better tools as possible as early on as you can. Because grinding down stuff like that is going to cost you. Now, alright, so a few other things you gotta know. What blocks do what? Okay, most of these are modded blocks. I'll show you what the vanilla blocks are. That's pretty much everything here and everything here all the way up to there. All of this right here. All of these blocks there to right here. All of these blocks to right there. All of this all the way across. All of this all the way across. This one, that one. All of these directly across. All of this directly across except for that. Alright, and then all these rotors and pistons and landing gears. And all of these. Oxygen farm all the way over here. These are vanilla windows. This is vanilla. And that's vanilla. And that's every single block in the game that's vanilla. Everything else in here is pretty much modded. Alright, so first thing I need to do, I need to grab that. And this is a build and repair system. I'll show you guys how that works later. We're not ready for it yet. Okay, and this is all azimuth. Alright. I'll show you guys that real quick. All these are modded blocks. Gives you special cockpits and drills, things like that. We'll touch on those a little bit later. These are actually pretty good for small ships. That's part of the reason that I like the azimuth pack. I don't care for many of these other blocks here, just because they're bulky and they have a tendency to be cumbersome. So a few of my specialty blocks that I like are the azimuth antenna. I like the small azimuth antenna. I like the oxygen tank and the oxygen generator. All of those are azimuth pretty much must-haves for any ship that you plan on building using the azimuth mod. Alright, this ore detector is about the size of a regular ore detector. Does a little bit better than the vanilla ore detector, but this one here is the best. Alright, and if you want to do a reactor that's small, this one is probably the best. Because it allows you to, once you put it on your hotbar, adjust to any size you want. You can go 1 block size. You go to 3x3. And that one allows you to adjust to different things. 6 points of connection. So, yeah. So that helps. Alright. So the first thing we really need to do before we do anything else, we need to go in there, we need to grind down a lot of our stuff and put it here. Let's do a lot of the vanilla stuff. Let's put away the mods for now. And we're going to go to all blocks. We're going to go to production blocks. And we want a refinery. Yeah, we can do an arc furnace too. We can do an O2 generator and the assembler. We're going to need all that. We may need this later on, but as of right now, not so much. Okay, so solar panels. These right here are the vanilla solar panels. Okay, so we have those on our first hotbar. If you go back and you look, those are right there. Yes, I'm keeping track. I know, it's something strange. Terror keeping track of something. Oh my gosh, the world's gonna end. So this right here is probably the better ones. These work just as well as any of the other resources. I mean, just as well as these right here. But they're half the resources. So if you look, A large ship one only takes 32, whereas a large ship regular solar panel here takes 64 solar cells. So worth it, definitely worth it. All right, so another thing, you got 1x1x1 compact battery. That is something in the game that I've added. Doesn't work too well for large grids. You can't put it here and attach it unless you use rotors or something like that. Now, these I highly recommend. These are pretty good batteries. This is part of the X-Bar mod. I'll teach you about that mod later. But for now, let's do our vanilla battery. Alright, and I will do the modded solar panel simply because half the resources, better output. You know, that's you can get more of those things on here for half the price. We're getting double the power for half the price of our resources. Alright, so let's see. We need a cargo container. We'll definitely need that. Alright. And let's go grab our stuff out of the ship over here. Now I'm just gonna start grinding all this stuff down. And don't worry about the lost oxygen. You have an unlimited amount right now as far as things go for you. You're on an ice lake. Ice is how you create oxygen. Pull all this out real quick. Because if I don't pull it out, I'm going to regret it later because all that's going to just go fly out. Whenever I'm not wanting it to. So, better pull the inventory out of it and be safe. Now this takes so much longer with this regular welder. And as you can see, your energy goes pretty quick. We're not ready quite yet to pull that out. That's our respawn point. Show you how it works here in a minute. Let's go place a couple of these blocks so I can show you what they do. Alright, so first things first, we need our way to hold our materials. That's going to be the cargo container. Now, a way to break down old materials and make new materials happen. It's called the assembler. And you'll want to take that and turn it like that, to where these two little button sides are facing inside and outside. I'll tell you why here in just a minute. And I'll actually show you a much better way to do that here in just a little bit. Right now, let's just cover the base. Okay, so these two ports right here are for these. These right here are upgrade modules. You have one yield module, you have one speed module, and you have one power efficiency module. Each helps with exactly what it sounds like. One brings up the speed of the processing. One brings up the yield, so if you need a little bit more resources from one specific thing or another, you can put those on there and it'll give you a little bit better yield. The more of them you have onto a thing, the better it is. In this case, you can only put two. One on this side and one on this side. However, you can connect multiple ones. If you look here, it gives you another one of these ports. So were I to put another assembler down, like so, and turn it where it was like that, you could see those two ports line up, and I'd be able to put another one there, and I could share it across both assemblers. But we're not going to do that right now. So this is our oxygen generator here, and you can see it's a 2-block monster. I don't much care for this oxygen generator, so let me show you a little something here. This is the azimuth oxygen generator. Okay, so we're going to replace that with the O2H2 generator that we had there, and we're going to set this down right here, and as you can see, it's 1 block tall. Much more helpful. And these little what looks like partial blocks on the side, I'll show you once we weld them up. I'll point at them with my little welder here once I get them welded up. And you can see it takes pretty much the same amount of material, sometimes a little bit less depending on the block and the mod. Okay, so this thing right here works the same way as these yellow things here. These are all conveyors. They all work differently with different setups. So I'll show you about that here in a bit as well. Okay, so we want to go in here and put our ice in there, and it'll share it across system wide. Take it, put this in there, and all of these in there. We only need this right at the moment, and this at the moment, and of course we've got no way to build do anything quite yet because we got to build a battery onto this grid. So let's go right here and right here, and I'll put that one back right there. Alright, and right here close to where we got all our other stuff here, we're gonna take and we're gonna put a regular battery there. Alright, now by doing it that way you can't access anything. However, if you turn it like that, you can access it. so. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Alright, so we weld it up. Alright, so now with this little thing here, you can access everything on our base grid. Alright, so the oxygen generator. Let's go ahead and there you go. The assembler, battery, and our cargo container are what show up in our control panel right now. We can go right here to info, and we can go here, and we can change to TF TUT BASE. Alright, hit OK, that accepts it, everything's fine. Now exit out, and I again. Nope. I again. While you're on that, sorry. And if you look up here, TF tutorial base. Alright. Now, let's go get the big blocks. Just so you know, this is a remake of my tutorial series. I started out showing most people how to survive, how to get an early start. Last time I started out in survival mode in space. This time I figured I'd start on a planet, kind of show a little bit more of the planetary aspect of things, as opposed to them having, you know, whatever. Alright, so depending on where and how you want to set something up, your best bet is usually to set this on the outside. Set your refinery on the outside. Now that's not always possible because of the way you set your base up to begin with. Initially, things like that, whatever the case may be. You simply have to roll with the way you do stuff. So, like this, you can see where my conveyor port is on that. It's that big yellow thing on the left hand side, right over here. Well, it moved once right there where my cursor is. Alright, if I butt it right up to this, on my oxygen generator, that little bitty conveyor that's right there will automatically feed into it. So I hit it right there, and it will immediately pressurize, and you can weld it up. Now, as you can see, every time you hit it with the welder, all my resources are in there. I got 100 steel plates, 20 computers, 16 motors, 20 large steel tubes, 40 construction components, and another 1,000 of the steel plates. And once I welded it, all that went in there. Now, if I hit it with the grinder, it pulled all of that out except for 247 of the steel plates. Now that sticks over a little bit, and I think it'll be alright. that, like that, like that. Alright. And we can go 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now the reason I did that is because if I put 2 on this side right here and I didn't put the 2 on this side, the way I expanded it, it would have looked awkward, oblong, and everything else like that. Now we're going to put our slopes on there once we actually complete this thing. Alright. Alright, so these are the basics of a base that you need to get running. First things first, before we do anything else any further, we need to work on these solar panels. Alright, so placement does matter. The sun is right over there. We need to try to catch as much optimum light as possible. Now, the side will work pretty well for this. I mean, it's not like, you know, we're end of the world or anything like that, you know, if you don't place them to where they're going to catch the most optimal light all the time. But it's usually a pretty big deal if they don't get they gotta get welded up, so alright. And the way you know these are working, these little lights right here, they tell you how much they're charged up. 2 out of 4 bars, so 50% there, 25% there, 25 there, 25 there, and 25 there. Alright. So finally, the one last thing that we need here before we do it, the rest. Alright. Lastly, we want to go right here and hit G again. All blocks. You want the medical room. know why it's not setting up to my hotbar. Okay, so if I go to G and I just right click it, that set it to my hotbar. Alright, so now go up right here so we can see. We need to set it up about right there. This is pretty good from the wall and everything else.
Energy low.
Part of the reason I'm doing this is help out because we're going to do something rather unique to make this much harder. Now, I'm pretty much done, got our stuff built up right here. Let me deposit everything into our cargo container. It's always a good idea, especially if you're playing on servers. Multiplayer servers have a tendency to steal all your products, all your everything. It'll usually give you your welder and your grinder and stuff back, but for the most part everything else is in danger, including that ship. If we go over here and I go and I sit in the cockpit, I can show you guys that it says temporary ship will be removed after you leave the game or you spawn in a new one. So now, let's exit. Let's go to our main menu, save. All our major stuff is over there on our grid. And Space Engineers crashed. Lovely. And of course, you might know that I'm still streaming. Having technical difficulties, be back in just a minute. Alright, so we're back, and if we go to load game, here's where we were. We were in this little empty world right here. It kind of looks like it corrupted it just a little bit, but not bad. Alright, so edit, settings right here. We're going to go to advanced settings. We're going to go down here to unknown signals, turn that off, turn off spiders, drones, wolves. Let's see. Random encounters, turn on. Enable sun rotation, turn on. Copy and paste, not really right now. No, you can't highlight it anyway, it's blacked out. Everything. Okay. oh, this right here. Enable respawn ships off.
That's going to make it a lot harder because that's going to be our only station to respawn at. And it'll make it to where we can't do anything except go there. So, yep. And that's showing you my settings. So now we have all that set up. Oh yeah. Let's go back to that real quick. Advanced, let's make sure that all that it didn't stay on because I hit cancel instead of. Okay, so enable sun rotation, random encounters, spiders, drones, wolves. Yeah, we want to start in the spawn screen. I'm not going to enable spectator right now because right now I don't need it. So, okay, hit our mods, and let's do recyclable batteries. Okay, so B-A-T-T. Alright, so that one. And that one. Now, what the wall mount battery does, it gives you a battery that you can just throw on the wall. Things work off of it. Not as strong or as big as most of the other batteries, but will work. And recyclable batteries will allow us to grind down the rest of the batteries on that ship. Now we'll do that in the next one. It's kind of late this evening, and I chose to do this at a rough time. So we'll be back at a later time whenever we can actually put in a good stream. Our next stream will be a couple of hours, and we'll start out by I'll have everything ground down on that thing and ready to go for the next episode, and ready for us to begin work. So, yep. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. Also, it helps me out quite a lot, and it helps my channel. So, please do it. Don't forget to turn on the notifications. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Terror. Peace out.